In this weekly APA review, we're going to go over lettered lists, serial commas, and colons because they're really all interrelated in terms of the list that you'll be using in this class and in your writings. Before taking you to the APA style guides, I'm just going to go over the general rule. So seriations or lists, they help the reader identify key points that are related within a sentence. If a sentence contains 3 or more items, you're going to use the serial or Oxford comma for all list items, including the last item, so you're offsetting that last item before the and. If the list already has a comma, you're going to use semicolons, and remember the semicolon separates 2 independent clauses, while a colon separates an independent clause from one that acts as an example or preceding thought, such as or extends the preceding thought, such as a list. So that's why I had that included here, because for the most part, the types of lists you'll be using will just be offset by a colon. And I want to make sure you're correctly using the colon versus the semicolon. So now we'll go to those APA style guides. So again, we talked about the serial comma already. This is just an example. Here, the sentence just includes a list of 6 items. So factors of personality include extroversion, conscientiousness, openness to experience, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And all items are separated by a comma, including that last item before the and. So here's just an example of the use of a comma when items already or the use of a semicolon, when the items already contain a comma. So here, the presence of positive affect, comma, such as whether people feel happy and peaceful, that's the first item. The second item, the absence of negative affect, comma, such as when people feel angry or bored. And then the third item is high level of satisfaction. So because these 2 items had commas, we separate them with a semicolon. Now let's go to the lettered list style guide. So it talks about the 2 things we just talked about, but then it also says that if you want to draw more attention to your items, you might want to use letters or numbers. I don't necessarily foresee the need to do a numbered or lettered list in your writings. This is the correct way if you do. So again, the sentence just continues. You don't have a complete clause here, so you're not offsetting it with a colon. And participants provided information about their, and here's item 1, item 2, item 3, and item 4. The items contain a comma, so they're being separated. You see the commas in there. They're being separated by a semicolon, so it includes a couple of these different rules. And then the letters are in parentheses to, again, highlight that information. Now, I just want to make sure that we're using colons and semicolons correctly when we're separating things within a sentence. So you use a colon between something that's grammatically complete, an independent clause. This is an independent clause. Freud wrote of 2 urges. That's a complete standalone sentence. What follows it, extending that sentence, adding to it with an illustration of sorts. And this is a type of list I think you'll most commonly use. So what I want to note is that here you notice that this is not capitalized. This isn't a proper noun. This isn't anything like that. So after the colon, the list items aren't capitalized. However, here it is capitalized. And that's because this is a complete sentence here. But sometimes you might capitalize it if there's a proper noun that follows that colon. So just keep that in mind. And you'll see the use of that frequently also in titles of articles that you might be putting in your reference section. So just keep in mind, if it's capitalized in that title, you probably need to capitalize in that reference, even though sentence case is how you present the title of the journal article in the reference section. So hopefully that didn't confuse you, and hopefully you will find this helpful on your APA review.